Robots now actually feel what they're touching. China's top general accused of leaking nuclear secrets to the US. And the world's biggest TikTok star just signed a nearly $1 billion deal. Google settling a $68 million privacy lawsuit. WhatsApp rolling out military-grade security features. And so many more interesting tech updates. So stick around till the end because I'm going to explain everything. Let's dive right in. Alright, let's kick things off with something straight out of science fiction that's now become science fact. Figure AI just introduced Helix 02, and folks, this is a game changer for robotics. So here's what's happening. Figure AI, the company that's been making waves in the humanoid robot space, just unveiled their Helix AI system. And this isn't just another incremental update. This is the first ever vision language action model that can control the entire upper body of a humanoid robot in real time. Think about it. We're talking about 35 degrees of freedom, controlling individual fingers, wrists, torso, and even the head, all at 200 Hz. That's lightning fast response time. And here's the crazy part. These robots can pick up virtually any household object just by you telling them what to do in plain English. No programming, no demonstrations needed. The coolest thing, they demonstrated two Figure 02 robots working together to put away groceries. They just told them, "Can you put these away?" And the robots figured it out themselves, identifying items, placing them in refrigerators, closing drawers, all without explicit instructions. But here's what makes this revolutionary. It only took 500 hours of training. Compare that to traditional robotics where you'd need thousands of demonstrations for each specific task. And get this, it runs entirely on embedded GPUs right inside the robot. No cloud connection needed. Figure AI is already deploying these in warehouses for their second commercial customer, rumored to be Amazon or Walmart. They are sorting packages, self-correcting mistakes, and operating at 50% faster speeds in sport mode. My take on this? We are witnessing the birth of truly general-purpose robots. This isn't factory automation anymore. This is robots that can adapt to any environment, including our homes. Figure AI says they're starting alpha testing in residential settings by late 2025, 2 years ahead of schedule. The future is here, people. Okay, moving on to something equally mind-blowing. Robotics just crossed an important line, and it's all about the sense of touch. Fluid Reality has successfully demonstrated the first full end-to-end touch-based teleoperation system. Here's why this matters. Up until now, robots have been essentially blind when it comes to feeling what they're touching. They can see, they can move, but they can't feel. This system uses a 22mm fingertip haptic display with 32 independently actuated microbubbles. When a robot hand touches something, those sensations are streamed back in real time to a human operator. And we're not talking about vague vibrations. This is actual contact feedback. Pressure, texture, the whole deal. 3 human fingers receive continuous touch data from the robot, so you can actually feel what the robot is feeling. This is a collaboration between some major players. Samsung Electronics handled haptics and system integration, Alt Bionics provided the robotic hand, Manus handled precise hand tracking, and Sensible Robotics supplied those high-resolution fingertip sensors. Now why does touch matter so much? Because without it, robots struggle with the real world. Gripping fragile objects, adjusting force mid-motion, handling irregular surfaces. Vision alone just isn't enough. High-quality tactile feedback does two critical things. It enables true dexterous manipulation for remote operations, and it generates rich, real-world data needed to train next-generation physical AI systems. Fun fact to put this in perspective, the human hand has around 17,000 touch receptors. Robotics is finally starting to catch up. This is still early stage tech, but it's a clear step toward robots that don't just see and move, but actually feel their environment. And that's the difference between lab demos and systems that actually work in the messy, unpredictable real world. Alright, let's shift gears from robots to privacy concerns. Google just agreed to pay $68 million to settle a class action lawsuit. And this one hits close to home for anyone with a smart speaker or Google Assistant on their phone. Here's the deal. Users claim that Google Assistant was secretly recording their private conversations, even when they didn't say "Hey Google" or "Okay Google." People were reporting that they'd have conversations about financial issues, personal decisions, employment stuff, and then suddenly they'd see ads related to those exact topics. Creepy, right? The lawsuit alleged that Google inappropriately started recording when those wake words weren't used, without the knowledge of users on Google smartphones, home speakers, laptops, tablets, Chromecasts, even wireless earphones. Then those recordings were allegedly transmitted to third parties for targeted advertising. Now Google didn't admit any wrongdoing. They said they're settling to avoid the uncertainty, risk, expense, inconvenience, and distraction of lengthy litigation. Classic corporate speak. But here's the thing, $68 million is a drop in the bucket for Google. The lawyers might take up to 1/3 of that for legal fees. So actual users will get not much. And this isn't an isolated incident. Apple just settled a similar lawsuit about Siri for $95 million back in December 2024. Last year, Google paid $1.4 billion to Texas for data privacy violations. There's a pattern here. These tech giants have gotten too comfortable with surveillance capitalism. They build these convenient systems that are always listening and then act surprised when things go wrong. The settlement amounts are just cost of doing business for them. We need stronger privacy laws with real teeth, not these slap on the wrist settlements. On a more positive Google note, they just expanded their AI Plus subscription plan globally, making it the most affordable way to access Gemini AI. Google AI Plus is now available in 77 countries worldwide, priced at just $7.99 per month in the US. That's way more affordable than the $19.99 per month AI Pro plan. And for new subscribers, they're offering 50% off for the first 2 months, dropping it to just $3.99. What do you get? Access to Gemini 3 Pro and Nano Banana Pro in the Gemini app, AI filmmaking tools in Flow, research and writing assistants in Notebook LM, plus 200 GBs of storage that you can share with up to 5 family members. This is clearly Google's move to compete with OpenAI's ChatGPT Go, which launched with a similar strategy targeting price-conscious markets. The expansion mainly covers countries like Argentina, Thailand, Brazil, Algeria, and the Maldives, places where the $20 per month premium tier might be a hard sell. Here's my take. This is smart business. AI is moving from being a luxury feature to a commodity. The real competition isn't about who has the best AI model anymore. It's about who can get it into the most hands at the most accessible price. Google is betting big on volume over margin, and honestly, as a consumer, I'm here for it. More competition means better prices for all of us. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the AI job apocalypse that's starting to feel very real. Amazon just announced they're cutting 16,000 jobs globally. This is their second round of major layoffs in just 3 months. They cut 14,000 jobs back in October. That's 30,000 jobs total, representing about 9% of their corporate and tech workforce. Beth Kellety, Amazon's Senior VP of People Experience, said, "These cuts will strengthen our organization by reducing layers, increasing ownership, and removing bureaucracy." But here's what they're not saying loudly. This is about AI efficiency. CEO Andy Jassy was pretty blunt about it last year. He said, quote, "As we roll out more generative AI and agents, it should change the way our work is done. We will need fewer people doing some of the jobs that are being done today." And Amazon's not alone. AI was responsible for almost 55,000 layoffs in the US in 2025, according to Challenger, Gray, and Christmas. Microsoft cut 15,000 jobs. Pinterest cut 15% of its workforce to pivot to AI-focused roles. Meta cut 600 jobs. The list goes on. Here's what's interesting though. While companies are cutting jobs, a Vanguard report says that jobs highly exposed to AI automation are actually growing faster than they did pre-pandemic. So what's really happening? My honest opinion? I think some of these companies are using AI as a convenient scapegoat. Many overhired during the pandemic and now they're course correcting. But it's easier to say AI made these jobs redundant than to admit we messed up our hiring projections. That said, AI will change the job market. Entry-level positions that involve routine tasks, those are vulnerable. But new jobs are being created too. AI trainers, prompt engineers, AI ethicists. The economy is shifting, not collapsing. The key is adaptability. Speaking of global shifts, let's talk about some international intrigue. This one sounds like it's straight out of a spy thriller. China's top general, Zhang Youxia, has been accused of leaking nuclear secrets to the United States. General Zhang was the vice chairman of China's Central Military Commission, basically the operational leader of the People's Liberation Army. He was considered untouchable, a childhood acquaintance of President Xi Jinping himself. But on Saturday, he was dismissed and put under investigation for serious violation of discipline. According to the Wall Street Journal, citing sources familiar with a high-level briefing, Zhang is accused of passing sensitive technical information about China's nuclear weapons program to the US. He is also accused of accepting massive bribes in exchange for promotions, including promoting an officer to defense minister and forming political cliques within the military. The evidence allegedly came from Gu Jun, former head of China National Nuclear Corporation, which oversees both civilian and military nuclear programs. Gu is also under investigation. This is huge because Zhang had direct combat experience from China's war with Vietnam in 1979, and he'd survived multiple rounds of military purges. For Xi to go after someone this close to him signals just how extensive the corruption or alleged corruption goes. Under China's counter-espionage law, penalties for spying can range from long prison sentences to the death penalty. Some reports suggest Jiang could face execution if convicted. This is about more than one general. Xi has been systematically hollowing out the top echelons of China's military with purges. Since 2023, investigations have hit the Army, Navy, Air Force, Strategic Missile Force, and key theater commands. Some analysts say this has set back Beijing's military ambitions toward Taiwan by years. Whether Jiang is guilty or this is political theater, one thing's clear. China's military modernization just hit a major speed bump. Alright, let's talk security upgrades. WhatsApp just rolled out a new strict account settings feature, and it's basically lockdown mode for your account. This feature is designed for high-risk users, journalists, activists, public figures, people who might face sophisticated cyber attacks. When you enable it, WhatsApp automatically applies the strongest possible privacy and security controls. Here's what it does. It blocks media and attachments from unknown senders, silences calls from unknown numbers, turns off link previews, blocks high volumes of unknown messages, forces two-step verification on, enables security notifications when encryption codes change, and restricts your profile info to only your contacts. The timing is interesting because this rollout comes just days after WhatsApp was sued for allegedly making false privacy claims. The lawsuit accuses Meta of storing, analyzing, and accessing virtually all of WhatsApp users' private communications, despite claims of end-to-end encryption. And there's more context. WhatsApp recently patched a critical zero-click vulnerability, CVE 2025-55177, that threat actors were exploiting in sophisticated attacks. This flaw, combined with an Apple iOS vulnerability, may have been used to deploy spyware against specific targeted users. Apple has lockdown mode since 2022. Android introduced Advanced Protection Mode last year, and now WhatsApp is following suit. Here's my take on this. End-to-end encryption is great, but it's not a magic shield. Metadata, device vulnerabilities, social engineering. There are so many attack vectors. For most regular users, WhatsApp's standard security is probably fine. But if you're someone who handles sensitive information or you're in a high-risk profession, enabling this strict mode is a no-brainer. That said, let's not pretend Meta is a privacy champion. They're rolling out these features while simultaneously facing lawsuits about privacy violations. It's damage control, not altruism. Let's talk TikTok drama, because when is there not TikTok drama? TikTok uninstalls in the US have jumped 150% over the past 5 days compared to the previous 3 months. This spike happened right after TikTok announced that its US operations would be housed in a new joint venture. Here's the backstory. TikTok finalized a deal to avoid a ban. The new entity, called TikTok USDS Joint Venture LLC, gives American investors a controlling stake. Oracle, Silver Lake, and Abu Dhabi-based MGX collectively own 45%. Other investors own about 35%, and ByteDance retains less than 20%. So why are people deleting the app? A few reasons. First, users were prompted to accept an updated privacy policy that mentions collecting your racial or ethnic origin, sexual life or sexual orientation, citizenship or immigration status, and financial information. Here's the plot twist. That language isn't new. An archived version from August 2024 has the exact same provisions. But people noticed it now and freaked out. Second, TikTok has been experiencing outages and technical issues. Users reported problems uploading videos, and the app blamed a power outage at a US data center. Third, and this is the big one, creators are concerned about censorship. Some users claim certain topics are being throttled or censored entirely. TikTok hasn't communicated clearly to creators what this joint venture means for them, which is fueling paranoia. Despite the spike in uninstalls, TikTok's active user levels have remained relatively flat. But rival platforms are benefiting. Upscroll downloads rose tenfold, Skylight Social jumped 919%, and RedNote increased 53%. My take? This deal was supposed to reassure people, but it's done the opposite. The lack of transparency is the real problem here. When you drastically change ownership structure and then stay silent about what it means, of course people are going to panic. TikTok needs to get ahead of this with clear communication, or they'll keep bleeding users to competitors. From TikTok drama to TikTok success, let's talk about Khaby Lame, the world's most followed TikTok creator who just closed a deal valued at $975 million. For those who don't know, Khaby Lame is the guy who makes those silent reaction videos mocking overly complicated life hacks by showing simple solutions. No words, just facial expressions. Pure genius. He has 160 million followers on TikTok, more than Charlie D'Amelio, who's in second place with 156 million. His company, Step Distinctive Limited, was acquired by Rich Sparkle Holdings, a Nasdaq-listed financial services firm. The deal gives Rich Sparkle exclusive global rights to Khaby's brand for 36 months. We're talking brand partnerships, endorsements, licensing, merchandise, e-commerce, everything. Rich Sparkle estimates this could generate over $4 billion in annual sales. But here's where it gets really interesting. As part of this deal, Khaby authorized the development of an AI-powered digital twin. They'll use his facial features, voice patterns, and behavioral models to create a virtual version of him that can create multilingual content and even do virtual live streams while the real Khaby is asleep. Now, a bit of skepticism is warranted here. Some analysts, including Celebrity Net Worth, are questioning whether this is really a $975 million cash deal or more of a volatile stock transaction. Khaby only owned 49% of Step Distinctive, so even at face value, his cut would be around $477 million in Rich Sparkle stock. And that stock has been, let's say, highly volatile recently. That said, let's appreciate the story here. Khaby was a factory worker in Italy who lost his job during COVID. He started posting videos on TikTok in 2020. By August 2021, just 17 months later, he hit 100 million followers. Forbes estimated he earned $20 million in 2025 alone. My take? Whether it's $975 million in cash or a complex stock deal, this represents a fundamental shift in how creator influence is monetized. Khaby isn't just an influencer getting sponsorship deals. He's becoming an equity-backed brand with supply chains, AI technology, and global distribution. This is the future of the creator economy. The AI twin part is fascinating and a bit dystopian. We're literally turning human personalities into scalable digital assets. It's brilliant from a business perspective, but it raises questions about authenticity and what it means to be a creator when an AI can replicate you. Speaking of the future, let's talk about some big claims from a certain billionaire. At Davos this year, Elon Musk made a bold claim. He said aging is a solvable problem. Now, Elon's known for making grand statements, and he's working on a lot of future tech through his companies. But the idea that we can solve aging is controversial in the scientific community. There's legitimate research happening in longevity science, understanding cellular aging, senolytics, drugs that clear out old cells, genetic therapies, etc. Companies like Altos Labs and Calico, backed by Google, are investing billions. But solving aging implies we can stop or reverse it entirely, and we're nowhere close to that. What's more realistic is extending health span, the number of years you live in good health, and maybe adding a few years to lifespan in the process. My take on Elon's comment? It's aspirational marketing more than scientific reality. Yes, we should absolutely fund longevity research, but let's be realistic about timelines. We haven't even fully cured cancer or heart disease, which are more tractable problems than fundamentally rewriting the aging process. That said, if anyone's going to throw money at moonshot projects, it might as well be Elon. Just don't expect immortality anytime soon. This one's a bit spicy. Ross Gerber, a prominent Tesla bull and investor, publicly called for Apple CEO Tim Cook to resign. Gerber's argument? Apple needs new leadership to stay competitive. He's not alone in this sentiment. Some investors feel Apple has been coasting on iPhone sales and hasn't innovated enough in new product categories. Apple stock has faced pressure, their Vision Pro headset had lukewarm reception, and they've been late to AI compared to Microsoft and Google. The car project was cancelled after years of investment. But here's the counter-argument. Tim Cook took over Apple when it was worth $350 billion. Today, it's worth over $3 trillion. He successfully navigated the post-Steve Jobs era, expanded services revenue, and maintained Apple's premium brand. My take? This is typical investor short-termism. Apple doesn't need to chase every trend to stay relevant. They're playing a different game, waiting until technology matures, then executing it better than everyone else. They did it with smartphones, tablets, and wearables. They'll do it with AI. That said, Apple does need a clearer AI strategy. They can't afford to be this far behind much longer. OpenAI just launched Prism, a free AI tool specifically designed for writing and collaboration in science. This is significant because scientific writing has unique needs: handling citations, managing references, structuring papers, collaborating with co-authors across institutions. Prism is purpose-built for this. It can help researchers draft papers, generate literature reviews, suggest experimental designs, and even help with data analysis. And it's free, which is huge for the academic community that's often resource constrained. My take? This could genuinely democratize scientific research. Grad students and researchers in underfunded institutions now have access to a tool that can significantly speed up their work. The key will be ensuring it doesn't encourage sloppy research or plagiarism. The academic community will need strong norms around how to use this responsibly. Google just introduced Agentic Vision in Gemini 3 Flash, and this is a big deal for AI capabilities. Agentic Vision means the AI doesn't just passively analyze images. It can actively plan multi-step visual tasks, reason about what it sees, and take actions based on visual input. For example, instead of just identifying objects in a photo, Gemini 3 Flash can now understand spatial relationships, predict what might happen next, and suggest actions. This is useful for everything from robotics to autonomous vehicles to medical imaging. My take? We are moving from describe this image to understand this scene and figure out what to do. That's the difference between a smart assistant and an intelligent agent. This is foundational technology for the next generation of AI applications. Finally, let's end with ASML, the Dutch company that makes the machines that make the chips that power everything. ASML just lifted its 2026 outlook based on record AI chip orders. Demand for their extreme ultraviolet EUV lithography machines is through the roof because every major tech company is racing to build AI data centers. But, and here's the twist, they're also planning to cut 1,700 jobs. Why? Restructuring to focus on their most profitable segments. This is an example of a company doing well overall, but still optimizing operations. My take? The AI chip boom is real. Nvidia, AMD, and custom chip makers all need ASML's machines. The job cuts are unfortunate, but reflect the reality that even in boom times, companies optimize. The net effect is probably still positive for the tech economy. Those 1,700 jobs are more than offset by hiring elsewhere in the AI supply chain. Alright everyone, that's our massive tech stories for this week. What's your take on these stories? Are you excited about robot autonomy or worried about job automation? Do you trust big tech with your privacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next one.